Of course, some people will think, oh, that's exploitative. You're making your children work and you're not asking them if you want to do it. Sure thing, I am. I was trying to talk about the way you make a film, the way I want to make a film is through intuition. And people would say, what is the difference between intuition and reason? They're not so clearly cut or separated. I would say intuition flows directly when you don't need to ask yourself why. And the opposite of making a film would be making an airplane, where each bolt and screw and wire and piece of plastic serves a purpose. Everything is there for a reason. So you can always ask, why is there this bolt in this part of the engine? I'm sure it's there for some reason. People don't just put bolts in engines like that. But when you're doing a film, when I'm doing a film, and also when I watch films, I'll come to this in a second, I don't need to ask that question. And it's not through instinct that you create, because instinct is purely irrational. It's through intuition. Intuition means that there's reason, but the reason comes behind you. Intuition is enough, and there's no need to ask why. I think this is the way, and I don't like to use this word very much, but this is how art, and I'm not saying I do it, I manage to do it, maybe others do, I don't know, but this is how art is made. It's through intuition. And unfortunately, in cinema, because it is meant to be an industry and there's so much money around it and there's so many film schools, unfortunately, like painters, writers, musicians, this is very clear using intuition. In cinema, it's less clear because they tell you how to do it. You get the good, there's all these instruction books for screenplays, for how to use the camera. This is the language, this is correct, this is incorrect, this is the perfect film, which is a horrible idea. Like films were like clocks or something, you know. There can be a perfect plane or a perfect clock, but a film definitely isn't that. And so many filmmakers, unfortunately, think always with a why. Producers are always asking them why in case they didn't do it. Now they have to do it. Even now funds, all this new world of cinema where it's made, why? What is the purpose of this? What is this and that? And this is, I think, a problem for cinema.
So you as a filmmaker approach cinema more like a music piece or a painting?
No, like cinema.
Like, of course, no.
This is exactly my point. I don't approach it like music, I approach it like cinema, but most people cannot approach it like cinema because there's too many things in the way of cinema. And furthermore, I would say that as a viewer, I also want to see films with my intuition and not with my intellect. And unfortunately, again, I also think, especially film critics and experts and things like that, want to see films with the intellect. So we create in the best cases as philosophers and see films as philosophers instead of creating films as artists and seeing films as artists. And probably this comes from the fact that lately there's all this, I mean 30, 40 years, all these industrial requirements on one hand. So the producers asking now the funds, this and that, labs here and there, everything has to have a why. And the other thing comes from a deeper element, which is the fact that the philosophy or the thinking about, let's call it art, stopped being in the realm of artists since the vanguards finished. And it all started being taken by philosophers. And philosophers think about cinema, and I'm talking about structuralism, and I don't want to get too deep into these issues, but I think all structuralism, all these ideas of concept and philosophy as a format being ahead of existence itself, or presence itself, let's put it that way, has caused some damage to the making of cinema, and also the way we analyze cinema. So I would only come to the point that we need to get closer to it as existence. That's why I said that's the way it's cinema. It's not like I do it like a musician, it's cinema. Some people ask me, oh, so you are very much into like the material and, you know, the elements of nature and the sounds of voices, but not so much into the story itself. And I would say, or the plot itself, I would say that's a mistake as well. I would say all of it comes together. In the end, it's one single thing, and it cannot be separated, and it's all about presence in time, presence in time.
And what exactly is the danger of all this decoding?
In general terms, probably it makes us a little unhappier. In terms of cinema, it brings cinema down to a minimal common denominator over and over. I'm sure I'll hear members of the public see films and they repeat each other very much. No matter if it's a war film or a comedy or, I don't know, a love story, it happens that the methodology is so similar that the power of vision, individual vision, has been reduced. I actually think artists, by definition, create their own methods of working as well. And when you try to reduce everything, even in film schools, to particular methods, actually one particular method, then you do reduce the capacity of or the diversity of individual vision.
Pararé hasta ver que mi llanto ha formado claro y olvido anhelado de yo tu recuerdo ahogaré. Fuimos nubes que el viento apartó, fuimos piedra que siempre chocamos, gotas de agua que el sol resecó, borracheras que Bitte Leute sagen von den golden Sänger Country Roll on Band, aber spanische Leute, das heißt, no,